What's up YouTube, it's Orth. Now I've been trying out a bunch of different epics in the game to deal with Chimera, Ultra Nightmare, and I've kind of boiled it down to a few different types of champion you can run successfully as your DPS epics. So let's jump into the video and see what these epics can do. Right, so I've been trying a bunch of different epics. I've tried Geomancer, I've tried Alika, Gala Long Braids. I've been trying all the different epics that we generally use for single target damage or just for DPS in general. And I've boiled it down to a few different things. The meta in Chimera right now is enemy max HP. Enemy max HP is not scaled and is going up to 800,000 damage, a million damage. It's really doing just some insane numbers. Now, to compete with that, you really don't have anything. You either have a Gnu, you have an Acrisia, you have Marius, any other multi-hitting enemy max HP nuker. They're in the S tier or on their own. There's nobody competing with them. After that, you have the single target enemy max HP nukers like Septimus, Royal Guard, Husk, those type of champions. And then you have in the same category, I would say, is champions who do single target damage but ignore defense and do extra turns. So Whisper, Gala Long Braids, champions of those ilks that will get extra turns because you're not penalized in this content for taking extra turns. You want to take as many turns as you possibly can and do as much damage. So ignore defense and do really strong damage in the Chimera to get the best numbers. Now, the champions I would say you want to run for epics is if you have a Husk, run a Husk because the affinity is really good for Husk. It's neutral, it's red affinity. Chimera does have an affinity. Every time you go to the Chimera, once they change from the ultimate form, once they go into the Viper form or the Lion form or the Ramp form, it will change affinity, and the affinity right now is red, which is force affinity. So Royal Guard is not really going to be great for you. So bear that in mind when you're taking your nukers. Again, Phenax would be another champion that you could try running. He doesn't have extra turn in his kit, but he does hit really hard, so you can try that as well. So the champions I want to showcase today is Gala Long Braids, and we want to also try Husk. We are going to be going into Ultra Nightmare for the test. I have Duchess to give us the increased attack on Gala and also the increased attack on Husk. I believe his A1 is scaling with the attack, so it's really good. And then we have the A2 because it's going to be enemy max HP. We don't need to worry about the stat. We have the Necmothard, the Duchess, and the Lydia in there. And I'll show you the stats really quickly, I guess, before we jump in. The stats are very good, but you can use whatever best stats you can run on your champion in whichever difficulty you're running. If you're running Nightmare, again, you can run easier stats, you can run brutal stats. Mine are 8.2k, 298 crit damage, 4-star Awakening Gala Long Braids with Savage and 1 Blood Shield because we want her to have the good survivability. And also we have Husk, who's in 6-piece Merciless with 1 refresh, double crit damage. He does have very good gear on, 73k HP, 4k attack, 2.3k defense, 252 speed. I tried to keep the speed similar. Gala is 256, 328 crit damage. I'll show you the masteries too. The masteries, these are Husks. I given him Helm Smasher because again, we want to do as much damage as possible since we're not really worried about a scale. And then we have these on Gala Long Braids, these masteries. So we'll go ahead and go into the fight, and you will see that as the fight starts, there's no cruelty, decreased defense. As you go into the fight, the damage is going to ramp up, but it'll give us a good sort of indication as to what we can expect. So here goes Gala with her triple hit, round about 80k and 110k for ignore defense or Helm Smasher, non-Helm Smasher. And then we also have the A2, so around about 180 to 100k average, and then 300k at the end. So round about, I would say just under 600k, maybe 550. And then we have the Husk, who's also going to do his nuke. It's 390k, and he's proctor refresh, so he's not I don't believe that was a Helm Smasher proc. With Helm Smasher, he's closer to around about 550, 600k. We'll get to see another nuke. We'll see A1's 50k. No, it looks like a decreased cooldown from the Merciless. That's why he doesn't have the nuke up just yet. but we'll hope to get back around. As you can see, the damage when we were comparing it to enemy max HP like nukers like Gnu and Marius, if you checked my last video, they were doing 800,000 damage per hit. This is not even A tier. This is like B tier after them. It's like S tier for Marius and Gnu and Acrisia, and then the A tier is empty, and then these guys are in B tier. Like there's such a big disparity between the enemy max HP, triple hitting, double hitting nukers to anything else. So I don't know. A lot of people are saying that it's not really busted. Some people are saying it's an intentional mechanic. Plarium are going to leave it this way. I will be shocked if Plarium didn't change enemy max HP. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think enemy max HP will be scaled at 10%? That's how we've had things in the game for the longest time. As we can see, 560k going in there from Husk, 100k hits from Gala, and then a 280k. Around about 600k, we're seeing both numbers come in at. Maybe like 550 to 600 between Gala and Husk. So you can definitely use epic nukers to get up there with single target enemy max HP. So if you're thinking about running a Husk, you can also just use the single target single target HP nuker with the highest blessing. So if it's 6-star crushing rend, if my Gala was running 6-star crushing rend, again, she does ignore defense, but as long as I can get up to 100% ignore defense, it would be really, really strong for me. The ram form is here. We don't like the ram form. The ram form is very, very strong. Probably one of the strongest forms, I would say, has like the most things going on. But yeah, it is very, very good and very, very scary. The dual mechanic is very good. The A3 is very, very strong. So it's really hard to kind of get much damage when you're coming into this boss. I feel like I always get good damage from the first form, and then I come to the ram form and everything's dying left, right. My DPS is dying. Whoever he hits with the A3 dies. It's like, yeah. This is why I like Duchess over Sifi, because she's already done an AoE revive, and now 3 of my champions are laid out. So if this was Sifi in this spot, I would have a really hard time bringing my champions back. So me personally, I even prefer like Pythion, who does like a really strong AoE revive. But we are slowly getting back to bringing our champions back up as the main form of Chimera comes down. The decreased speed is not great. I would like a cleanser, maybe somebody who can like shake off debuffs. There were people who were mentioning instead of Lydia, you can try Rio. She will give you the burn and she will give you the cleanse. She'll give you a bit of healing support too. And really the weakness in that would be that the Viper would be very, very tough to deal with. We like to lock out the Viper with our Lydia to do the A3 of Lydia to make sure it doesn't do any abilities. So here you can see we're around about 15 turns, done 7 million damage. Our damage is nowhere near the amount that we get from the big enemy max HP nukers, but it's ticking along. It's not so bad. You can definitely get your chest done this way. You're not going to get to the 8 billion for clash points that are needed to get the highest chest, which is insane. I don't know. I've only seen a couple of teams that are close to that sort of number, and they're like very, very well, very, very end game teams. I can't put together. I think the best I've done is around about maybe 2.5 billion per key. I can't get even close to 4 billion per key, so I can do 2 key on the chest, on the clash chest. But maybe we'll figure something out. Maybe I'll pull something different. But yeah, it looks very, very tough to be able to do that. So yeah, Plarium are definitely setting out like a stall there. I'm not really sure if anybody's gonna, or if me personally, I know there are some really well teams that can get close to 8 billion, but it's going to be tough. Wherever you guys are kind of pitching for, I would say focus on like the main chest of the difficulty that you're going for. If you get the highest chest from there, that's like what you should be going for first. 8 billion is a bit of a stretch. Maybe the second version down, wherever it is, get to that landmark. And maybe once we get area bonuses for Chimera, ignore defense, and then maybe we figure out a different team that helps us get there. But really don't worry too much about how to get to the 8 billion. I would say just enjoy the new content. There is a lot of fun to be had here. I do think this content is I think it's enjoyable. I think it's different. It's as hard as you make it for yourself. It's not really something that's going to be just everybody's forced to fight this really hard fight. You can basically just not focus on any trials and try to just sustain the whole fight is what I recommend. Try just doing your best and don't worry about doing the trials. Just get through the 65 turns, do as much damage as you can, and then later on you can worry about taking a few trials off here and there. Champions like Duchess and Lydia are very good. I understand not everybody's going to have Duchess. So yeah, I'm definitely very lucky to have Duchess on my account. Nekmothar is also very, very good. I've used him quite a lot in my teams, in my runs I've done in Chimera. So I definitely would recommend him. I am just going to manual this a little bit until we get to Viper, because I don't want block debuffs going on to Viper, since he gets really, really annoying if he can't land debuffs on him, if I can't run Lydia's block actives, and if I can't land decreased attack and such. I'm really not going to want to be in that position. So here he changes. He's going to still increase speed from me, but that's okay. Oh, we already have a champion down, so that's okay, I guess. Lydia's gonna die too. This is a little bit sticky here, but we're gonna die because the poison's gonna detonate before the. Ooh, this is really bad actually, because now I don't have Lydia and then I can't heal. This is looking not good, not good at all. We're gonna take a double turn here. Yeah, this looks like a GG for the run. Really, we should have had Husk up before we got to this phase, so we don't get to that point. It looks like poisons are going to kill us off here. But yeah, that is basically. I could run this team again, but the general point I was trying to make is that enemy max HP, if you have a single enemy max HP nuker and you compare them to somebody who does damage on single target and you're doing ignore defense and extra turns, you can see some good value there. Again, you're not gonna be able to keep up with triple hit or double hit enemy max HP, but if you do have a good nuker, single target, ignore defense, extra turn, as you can see, my Gala was really doing well. It looks like I didn't expect it to be this much higher. I thought the Husk would probably be closer. The Gala does have like better awakening. Husk has a really good gear, so I would conclude this to be in Gala's favor a little bit, but I do think that you should focus on the champions that you're vested in for Hydra. So if it's a Phenax, if you have a 6-star plus for Phenax, run him. If you have a Gala long braids, if you have a Whisper, definitely worth trying alongside your Ganut that you're going to run, or alongside your if you have Marius, that's great. If you have a Crizia, that's also great. But epic nukers are definitely in there with a shout. If you don't have any of those guys, you can definitely try out Whisper. You can try out Husk. When affinity changes, you can go to Royal Guard. You can try out Alika. You can try out Phenax. So many different epics you can use. They're not going to be as great, but they will get the job done. But that's it. That's for the video. That's my testing for the epics. I will be testing out a lot more epics. Let me know in the comment section down below which epics do you guys want to see me try next. And yeah, leave a like on the video, sub to the channel. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.